Welcome to today's episode of Living Real TV. I'm Clara Capano.
And I'm Karissa Adkins.
And we are here to help you gain clarity and boss up in all aspects of your life. So Karissa, are you ready to get real?
I am so ready to get real today. I love today's conversation.
Yeah, and what are we talking about today?
So excited for this because not only do we have an amazing guest for our show today, but we're talking about manifesting and we're talking about goals. Which is something both of us are passionate about, but visions, clarity, like everything starts with, that future version of you. And I'm just so stinking excited to talk about manifesting, like anything that you want, you could actually have.
Okay, let's manifest a nice cocktail.
Yes.
Let's see what we can manifest there.
I guarantee we're going to get something.
I think we're going to get something special today.
Yeah, D, what do we got today?
Well, today it's a little chilly outside, and so I decided to make something with a little bit of mocha cocoa.
Ooh.
This is very different.
Mocha cocoa.
And so I'm going to start out by adding a few coffee beans that have been coated in chocolate.
Okay.
Those are fun to just snack on, too. Give you a nice little buzz throughout the day.
Now, is it different from espresso bean or a coffee bean? Are they the same?
Espresso beans.
Okay.
They're espresso
Okay.
beans. All right, next we're going to add a little bit of liquor 43.
So this is probably going to warm us up on the inside, huh?
Oh, absolutely, as well as on the outside.
Mm-hmm. And I love the little mugs you have there.
Thank you.
I feel like we're getting ready to sit in front of a fireplace
Yeah,
and get all
we need
cozy.
it. Cue the fire. It's like one of my favorite things to do is just sit in front of the fire and cozy up. That's like, I think when we get into the winter seasons and the colder seasons, people can tend to get like those winter blues. And I just love them. I love sitting by the fire, grabbing my book or snuggling up to a movie. It's actually, I watch more TV probably in the winter than I do any other time of year, but I want the coziness.
Yeah, it is fun and cozy. Okay, so what kind of Bacardi did we have in there?
So we have just a dash of Bacardi banana.
Ooh, Bacardi banana.
And then we're going to finish it off with Clement's coconut.
I actually didn't even know there was like a banana liqueur. That's interesting.
I have seen that one. So
I obviously
that's
need
on
to
the
pay
normal
more attention
liquor
when I'm out
shelves.
shopping.
So the reason I did all of these is they really do complement anything with a winter spice, like a chocolate or even an allspice. You can put all of those in allspice. It'll turn out delicious. Then we're going to pour our cocoa.
Hot cocoa. Carol's. Did you like hot chocolate? Was that something that you always went to?
Oh, I still do. I have my special mug at home. It's actually like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and it's on there, and so I like that. And then I put all my little marshmallows on top. So I do love that. To me, that's sort of what kicks off like the winter season for me. I'm more of a summer and a fall girl, but I like the same thing. I love getting by the fireplace and cozying up on a blanket.
I love having these around my children because they don't know daddy's drinking.
Very smart.
The secret to all success. Love it.
And I was going to do a whip on these, but the whip that I had was dairy, and I really didn't want to.
Thank you. I can't have dairy anyway.
I thought about that, and I was like, nope, X-nay on the whip.
Plus, we probably would get it on our noses for filming, so that's good.
Oh, goodness. Anyway, this is our hot chocolate. Well, Dad's hot chocolate. Mom's hot chocolate. It's everyone's hot chocolate.
Adult hot chocolate.
Adult hot chocolate.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, so before we cheers, let's just appreciate what Dion gave us here. He happened to find 3 mugs, but it does say, if you guys are like, if you can zoom in if you can, it says the real heroes of the world are women like you.
Yeah, so we got to cheers to that
statement.
right there.
Oh my gosh, he said, I'm gonna be cheesy, but I'm gonna do it.
Oh my gosh, I just want to sit back in this chair and this is fantastic.
Okay. Yep, game over.
Game over.
Game over.
And I'm not even seeing all of you. We're just gonna sit back in our chair here.
Cheers, 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 cheers. Oh my gosh.
That is wonderful.
Heroes of the world are women like you and I and our guests. So.
Absolutely. So, as we're talking about manifesting Envision, Let's go back to when we were kids. So Karissa, when you were a little girl, what did you want to be? What did you envision for your life?
Well, the 6-year-old little girl wanted to be the Olympian. So I was a gymnast, and I idolized Shannon Miller and Dominique Dawes. So in fact, I wanted to be her so badly that I chopped my hair off. The whole team, we chopped our hair off to be really short like Shannon Miller because we thought that would increase our odds of becoming an Olympian. And then it went to, honestly, it went to theater. I loved theater. I was my first paid gig was down here at a theater here in Omaha, Nebraska. And it was my first, I got $75 per show, and to a 12-year-old, I was like, hot dang, and the show it was amazing. It was a British themed show. It's called Blood Brothers, and so I actually picked up my first English accent. I had to read in English accent the whole time. So, I wanted to be an actress, and that dream kind of went down when I had my son at 15. But here I am on TV, and I am full circle. Who knew I would have manifested that a long time ago. Yeah. What about you?
I sort of bounced back and forth on several dreams. At first, I thought I would do something that was going to be a little more stable, like being a doctor, and I actually thought about going into psychiatry because I just love how the mind works. But then as I went into junior high and high school, I really thought about being Barbara Walters. I loved the idea of being on TV. The problem is I listened to my fears too much and how challenging that would be, so I didn't pursue it. But again, just like you, somewhere in my vision, I must have manifested it because here we are.
Here we are.
So good for us.
I love it. And I do believe that the first part, if we're talking about manifesting, as a gymnast, I remember the very first time that I was told to stop with the physicalness of it all and now envision it. So, and that's a tool I use in my coaching practice today, is that creative visualization. We talked about when we had the episode with Victoria, and we've probably even talked about it in the episode with health or something like that, right? Envisioning who you want and need to become goes really far. So I remember as a gymnast who's competitive, you practice 6 days a week. There's no off days, just like anything. But on the Thursday before the meet, so the meets were Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we'd all drive up as a team. But on Thursday night, coach would look at us and he said, girls, the routines down pat physically. I need you to go home and envision the win, from everything, from start to finish. Yep. So I would go home and imagine putting on the leotard, right? I can imagine every step of that routine, sticking the landing, feeling the chalk on my hands. In fact, still to this day, I can't stand chalk because it reminds me of the rips and the tears and the pipe dream that got bursted when my back got injured. And they're like, yeah, you're not gonna be a gymnast. So just I've envisioned it so much. I could dream the routines, I could feel it, I could hear the audience. It quiets down, and then when you stick it and it's done, it goes live, and that rush you feel, and it helped me bring home the gold. I mean, every single time. I mean, you look at, I read this book called Relentless, and it's a coach, I forget the coach's name, but the coach works with just male athletes predominantly. And there's a reason why Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, they all have the mental game. They're unstoppable on the court because their mental game.
Michael Phelps does the same thing. Again, envisioning how the water's going to feel when he dives in. And it's interesting, growing up, I was never taught about this idea of mindfulness and visualization. For me, if I wanted something, it was all about checking off the boxes. And it wasn't until about 2009, 2010 that my mentor at the time really keyed me into it. And I have come to really believe in and understand. And so I do the same thing. It's, getting that when I put my plan together for the year, I don't even call it a business plan, I call it a success plan.
Right.
But the very first thing that I dive into is, what is the vision?
Yeah.
And everything then comes back and aligns with the vision. So this is what I walk, my people through too, just like you do with your visioning. It's let's start with, what is the vision of who you want to become? Then work it from there of, okay, so what do we need to do to create that vision? But it's amazing how when we get into that non-conscious part of our brain, which is what we do when we visualize, it gets into that. And there's a part of our brain, I don't know if you're familiar with it, called the reticular activating system. And what that does is it's a filtration system that makes connections. So when we visualize, it tells our brain to go out and find ways to make those visions happen. So even though we're not aware of it on a conscious level, on the non-conscious level, our brain is looking for ways to say, let's make these dreams come true.
And it's so much, like, so it's just really, it's a matter of getting you where you want to go faster, right? It's not that like the hustler, you could be a hustler and a boss babe and you could be working, and you may finally hit your goal at 10 years. Okay, great. Like it was the 5-year plan that went to 10 because we didn't fully believe in it, I think, at first. But when you can start to imagine what you want first, I like to put this metaphor in there. It's like planting the seed, right? So it's like first you got to till the garden, you got to kind of get messy with it, and then you plant the little seeds, and then every day you're meditating or visualizing it, you're watering it, and then all of a sudden, yes, you are looking for ways to grow a business, to become healthier, you know, to strengthen your relationships. You're like, oh, we could read this book. Like you may never have been open to even seeing that as an opportunity. So it's a huge, powerful thing that so many coaches are doing. You know, they're teaching their clients how to visualize success. What would you think is the biggest struggle with that?
Well, you know, what I've experienced is time, because I think when I first thought about it, I was working and talking with a lot of people who were spending an hour a day meditating, which is fantastic. I wasn't there yet, and I still struggle with getting to that point. So for me, right now, I'm at about 5.5 minutes a day. And what I do is I sit down in front of my vision board when I'm at home, and I actually have a picture of my vision board on my phone, so I take it with me when I'm on the road. And I sit down for about 30 seconds to a minute and visualize myself having these items come together. And then what I do is I follow it up with written affirmations that support, again, the vision of the person I want to become. So I think if people are not doing these things because it's a matter of time, because I know a lot of people are very busy, you know, that I look at it again like an investment. If I can invest 5 minutes a day, and that's going to be really the catalyst to help me achieve my goals and vision, that's a great investment of my time.
I always say, like, you don't not have the time. You've got to create the time. You have the same amount of time. So I always say, every time someone says, I don't have the time, I'm like, that's BS. So let's just call it what it is. Like you saying that you don't have the time to sit and think about what it is that you want to achieve, BS. You can make the time. You can do that on the toilet, for goodness sakes. You can do it in the shower. You know, like there are so many ways. You've got to be creative because we don't all have the hour.
No.
I have 30 minutes for my spiritual practice that includes the meditation. But I'm also, you know, the night before, I'm going to sleep with a hypnosis. You know, like there's different things that it's like just because you're not awake doesn't mean you don't have to be hearing it as well. So you mentioned vision board. I love vision boards. In fact, we have a genius on our show today about vision boards. But how do you get ready? Like, where is your vision board? How do you come up with it? What's it look like? What's the stuff on it? Tell me a little bit more about your vision board.
So my vision board is a cork board, and it's about 3 feet long by about 2 feet wide. And it hangs in my home office. And it just has pictures. What I do is every year, so this time of year is actually my favorite time of year, not just because it's fall time, but also this is success planning time for me, and this is what I walk most of my clients through. So this is where I really start to plant the seeds for the vision for my upcoming year. Again, what do I want to achieve? And then from there, I pull off power words that maybe reflect, again, the person I want to become. I take pictures of places I want to travel because I have a written life list or bucket list or whatever it is. And then what I do is I take pictures from there. So there could be pictures of me and my son, of my sisters and I, where I want to go on our sister trip this upcoming year. I take pictures of powerful women like Mel Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, of who I want to become. And I put all of those on there. So again, it's just allowing me every day to be able to take that mental picture of the year that I want to have in front of me and start to implant it into my non-conscious brain.
Absolutely. Do you have different ones, or do you just have one solid board?
Well, I just have one solid board, and then everything is on there, and then, you know, that's where I take my affirmations from there, and that's what I take a picture of. I also have some written, shall we say, passages. So one of the ones I'd love to read is Marianne Williamson's Our Deepest Fear. So that is one that is on there to remind me not to play small in my world, because that's something I have a tendency to do, is to hold back on my own greatness. So I think, again, you just have to go back and create the vision of who it is you want to become. What do you want your life to look like? Because the truth is, anything is possible. You just have to decide. And when you get clear and decide, this is my vision, you can be unstoppable in anything.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I love that.
So what do you do? What are some of your practices in setting your goals and getting your vision?
Well, I do too have a vision board. I actually love doing that. So about this time of year, I'm going around to all the different hair salons to collect free magazines. Like, I'm not buying it. Magazines are really expensive, actually, for
They
what
are.
it is.
I never thought of that resource.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, who always has those? Like, because it doesn't matter if they're from the past. It doesn't matter. Like, you're pulling words. I also pull in fabrics, so like rich feeling fabrics. I have money. Literally, I have my very first check that I took in. That goes on every year vision board. So I have my office vision board, which is great. But I actually so I have mini vision boards, if you will. So when I was competing for Miss Health and Fitness 2021, I went and created its own vision board. Very athletic women, right? Healthy meals, gut health, all kinds of, it was all health though related, because that competition, it was a marathon. It was not a sprint. It was 4 months of asking people to vote daily for me. Like, I had to stay motivated towards that goal myself. Like, I was like, oh Lordy. So that was its own thing. I actually brought, since we were talking about it, so this is my fitness journal. It's something that I preach to my own clients. I'm like, get yourself a fitness journal, because I give my clients plans and whatnot. But part of that
look at that.
is at the very beginning, right? I have stuff that motivates me. This goes to the gym every day. It's like a Bible for someone. So every day it's in the gym bag. And then when I hit certain goals, I'm getting ready to do it again because I've hit some major goals, but I will go in and do it again. So I'll go in and just post different things. So by the end of these, I have 12 years of fitness journals, believe it or not, 11 years since I decided I was going to lose all the weight. So I bring in that vision, you guys. If you can see it, it's happiness, it's 5 stars, it's more abs, please, it's level up and glow, it's progress, it's a determined woman, it's everything that I stand for. And every single day I look at this right, in the gym.
And I love that. I have my affirmation journal that I do my written affirmations in, and I love the idea of putting in the photos and looking at that first again, bringing it together. And one of the things that you brought up is as you achieve your goals. One of the other things I think that is really important, because we might be setting a vision board again for the year or for whatever. We don't want to wait until the end of the year to celebrate. So one of the things that I encourage people to do is, again, take your year long, but celebrate along the way. Yeah. Don't just wait for 12 months to celebrate, because every day we can have wins. Yeah.
Well, but like women like you and I, we are winning every freaking day, right? So the big thing I think is when you do have that win is to stop and celebrate that, because when we hit a goal, typically what we tend to do is make a new goal, right? So we don't even give ourselves permission to like sit and celebrate it and love it and be like, oh my gosh, I'm a rock star, and talk ourselves up a little bit. We don't even do that at all. We're like, oh, great, I hit my goal, now the next one. And it becomes a very they're not even fulfilling goals at this point. Like, women will be like, great, I lost another 5 pounds. Like, another, so many women struggle with that. Are you kidding? Celebrate that success. So what are, maybe 2 things that you do to celebrate your success?
One of the things is, again, just the acknowledgement of it, because, you mentioned that we're winning every day. Sometimes we don't recognize it. And I know, being very busy, it is so easy to get to the end of the day and say, I didn't get this done, I didn't get that done, I'm so behind. But we aren't focusing on what we did get done. So one of the ways that I celebrate every day is, at the end of the day, I ask myself, what are 3 great things that happened today? So that every day I could recognize the wins, because maybe I didn't get everything on my to-do list done, but the 3 things I got done were great.
Huge.
And so recognizing that the wins don't have to be big, they're small. And
Quite
then,
often they're not.
Sometimes it could be something fun. It could be, depending on the goal. If it was when I was really looking to get more fit, it was I identified a dress that I wanted to buy. So that would be sort of something I'd.
So like a reward system.
It could be a reward system. So I think, again, you have to, kind of pick and choose what's going to work for you.
Right.
What do you do?
Well, every day at the end of my work day, I sit and I write on my big whiteboard. It's called Hell Yes Wins. And sometimes it's literally like, I got up the steps without spilling coffee on my shirt. Like, that's a win for me. If you guys know me, I'm very clumsy. I'm all over the place. My body's always sore, so I'm tripping on pre-workout, could be all over me. So that could be a win. It could be a new client. It doesn't matter. But every day, that's like 4 o'clock. Plus, it kind of signals my brain that work is done. I am no longer taking work throughout the evening. Like, the office is where work is. It stays. It's the end of the day ritual. And I'm a big believer that when we sit around the table, when you start to express why it is that it was a win for you. So something we do, I think I even brought this up on a different show, is we talk about why that's a win, right? Why did that make you feel so good? And then my daughter too, she'll say the same thing. And then we talk about our fails, because we grow through failure. Right. So we always talk like, what was one thing we failed at today? How can we grow from it? And then what's one thing? But hell yeah, like me and my husband for many years, through the full year of COVID, when we would each have a celebration, we would pop a bottle of champagne. Okay, so something big, monumental, and again, that could be I got through a work week and didn't want to give up on my dream today. Like, it doesn't matter what the win is. Right. But we would pop a bottle of champagne. So we learned really quickly that was really expensive, and as a health professional, right? I'm like, we don't want to celebrate with food and booze and stuff like that. It's a bad habit to pick up. If anything, I just loved the sound of the pop. And then like the cheersing to each other. It was more of the ritual that goes behind it. And so we got really smart. We'd buy the little bottles. Nice. I mean, I didn't get the pop and the flying and the adrenaline that comes with that, but we do love celebrating with hearing that pop.
Yeah. I think the other thing to keep in mind is your vision can incorporate every aspect of your life. You can definitely have one for your business goals, but you can have one for your life goals. You can have one for your ideal client, so that you really manifest bringing that ideal client to you. You can have one for where you want to travel. And so I just think, again, when you get into doing that vision, don't just think it has to be just business. It does. So I know a lot of people, even on their vision board, they have it in 4 different categories. They have it in relationships, spirituality, business, and then maybe lifestyle. So I just think that, women need to go deeper and just look everywhere. What is it, again, you want to bring into your life and create that vision in each of those areas?
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe as the mindset coach, I feel like that maybe compartmentalizes things. And as one of my keys to like success, I don't know about you, but I do know this about you. So like we bring in family, right? Like when you are an entrepreneur and a solo, like you're it. So you have to bring in the family. So I don't know how I feel. I've seen the breakup, and maybe we'll ask our expert, here in a couple minutes, but I feel like everything should flow together. So there's not one area of my board that is focused on money. There's not one that's on health, because otherwise it's too compartmentalized for me. Like I want balance and I want ease in every area of my life. So my vision board is definitely like I just threw up all over it.
Well, and mine is more free flowing as well, because I tend to think the same way, where everything is combined together. So I do that. But I am really excited to be able to dive into this next half of our episode and get with our guest speaker. So thank you so much for staying tuned, and we are getting ready to take a quick break, and we will be back to talk with our guest about going deeper with visioning and manifesting. Hi, I'm Clara Capano with Capano Speaking and Training, and I am here to get you clarity. As the strategist for the Smart Woman, I've spent over 20 years working with women in business, helping them to recreate what success looks like for them, to get them off that hamster wheel and to get them into running a purpose-driven business. When you work with me, you're going to find real strategies that are going to help you gain immediate traction in both your personal and professional life. So follow me and find out all you need to get you clarity at claracapano.com.
Welcome back to Living Real, and we're talking all things manifesting, goals, vision boards, you name it. And we have an amazing guest for today's show, Miss Angie. Welcome to our show. Welcome to Living Real, girl.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think I am curious, because we have this amazing manifester and an expert on. But what did you want to be when you were a child? Because did you just wake up and be like, I'm going to be a manifester?
Yeah.
I actually wanted to be an astronaut.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not. When I loved being creative, and so when I was younger, I had created a whole solar system in my room, and made it from scratch. And
incredible.
I just
So were there like movies? What sparked it that you were like, I want to be an astronaut? Do you remember?
You know what? I'm really not sure.
Nothing? Okay.
Just something and you connected to the stars.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm all things universe,
Yeah.
and so anyway, it's just kind of crazy how.
It's still kind of
I mean,
brought
it is
you
full
there.
circle. I was
It
just
is.
like, it's universe and energy.
Yeah, and so that's totally my jam. So anyway, it's.
Yeah.
An astronaut.
So tell us what you do, because obviously, again, we're talking about manifesting goals, bringing it all together. So how did you bring all this together, and what is it that you really help people do in achieving their visions?
Sure. So when somebody reaches out to me to go through a vision board, there's one of two reasons why people reach out, and either it's because I guide them intuitively through that process, and so I'm able to pull stuff out of them that maybe they hadn't thought about, or maybe I hit it right on the dot, and they never even told me, but yet I picked up on things. Because when people come through, they actually have to fill out a dream sheet, and so I hear the words people don't say.
Yeah.
I see how, if they're handwriting it, I see the word shift from small to large, and I see how they enunciate. I see how they speak to themselves. And so I'm picking up on all those cues, right? Mm-hmm. And as I'm picking up on those, then I'm able to really tap into my own intuition during that process. And it's such a beautiful process. It's more than just, it's a vision board. It's truly just, I always call it like a brain dump on steroids. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a really beautiful process that's transformational if you allow it. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
How'd you get into this? The bigger, deeper story here.
Yes, that's a really deep story. So back in July of 2015, my father had passed away. We had a very tumultuous relationship, and as a result of him passing, I was able to actually kind of crack those layers within myself, to explore what that looked like and who is Angie. Because my previous career, I was in long-term care and I was an administrator, but I knew in my soul that I was made for more, and whether that be of service to the elderly clients or to my employees that I had. But it was always a service-based mindset. Even working on the farm was service. Mm-hmm. But it was truly when he passed that I felt like I need to have someone help me, pull that stuff out of me, because as easy it is for me to pull stuff out of my clients, it's not easy for me to pull that stuff out of me.
It never is. We're
Right.
too close to the pain to even see the problem.
Yeah. So I believe back in 2016, I had saw a Facebook post from a coach, and I'm like, wow, that kind of sounds like me. So I'm like, well, let's get on a call and let's see if we can work at this. And so I hired her to be my first coach. And one day I literally came to the session with a vision board, and I was so giddy. It was like I was going through show and tell in elementary school, because I'm like, I just wanted to show everybody. I'm like, look what I made.
We all remember that. We're like, look at.
And as a result, she asked one question, and she's like, Angie, have you ever thought about doing vision board workshops? And I'm pretty sure I gave her like, really? I'm paying you X amount of dollars, and you're going to tell me that?
Love those business coaches. They're like,
Anyway, so about a month and a half or two, I'm literally like rolling out this Vision Ask with Angie business, and I'm like, wow. And to me, in my mind, I was thinking, how can anybody hire somebody to help them do a vision board? Well, I realized that not everybody has those knacks and the tools to put that all together. And anyway, it's just been a beautiful
process.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
It'll be 4 years in February.
Yeah.
Wow.
What I noticed for me when I started doing visioning and putting vision boards together is I would get stuck in the how. So I would come up with an idea of, I want to accomplish this. But before I could get the picture or write the words down, before I would commit to it, I would have already talked myself out of it. Oh, it's going to cost this much money. How am I going to get that done? And what I had to learn is the vision comes first, the how will find a way. And so that's what I really encourage people to do is it doesn't matter how crazy the vision is, because again, you want to get it into that non-conscious brain. And so now I have some crazy things up on my vision board. You know, before I was an author, I put, writing a book, and within a year, I had my first book published. I put being on TV, and this has happened. So it's really amazing, and I just encourage people kind of get in touch with that inner child and dream. Dream and not be afraid to dream. Don't worry about the how, because that'll find its own way.
Yeah. Most definitely.
I think it's like, do you keep yours, all your past?
Oh, yeah.
It's fun because it's really fun to see these dreams manifest and come true.
It is.
And I should have brought it because I keep it all the time. So I make my clients create like a vision book. And they will literally, and they're like, at first they're like, but I don't know what to, and I'm like, it doesn't matter what's in it. You could spell out words with words. I was like, for me, it's my story. So my very first vision book, it was like, I am a coach, right? And I'm a 5-star, and I cut out all the 5 stars and all those kinds of things. But it was before I met Will even, and I was like, I'm going to marry someone who's into health, and we're going to be living somewhere warm. So I'm waiting for that to come, like really, really warm. Like I know we're in New Mexico, but like it's just so fun. But I dated because I love looking at. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was 2019, and look at all this stuff, the books, the flights. I'm going to fly first class, like all of these amazing. I'm like, this is, and when you keep it and then you re-look at it and you're like, oh, this is proof. Like I need to do this every year. This is a part of my plan every single year.
It is true. And again, you have to put it out there. I know when I was getting back into dating, being that I'm in Colorado, a lot of people are extremely outdoorsy. Clara is not very outdoorsy. So I would be looking, online, and there would be all these posts of men, look at my fish. And I'd be like, I don't care.
Where's the shoes?
And I remember just sitting there one time being like, my ideal man is not in Colorado. And I was like, I'm okay with that. And within 2 weeks, I met my boyfriend who lives in a different state. So sometimes I think, we've just got to open ourselves up. Because we think, oh, they're in another state. Well, that's a crazy vision, but it works.
Yeah.
And so I think, again, do you find that you see that, people putting on the brakes when you're sitting down with them, and you have to sort of be like, don't worry, don't overcomplicate it, don't think too much about it?
Oftentimes, some people think a vision board is all the materialistic things that you want, when what they really need to do is go within themselves to really pull that out. And so I really discourage people from putting materialistic things like a Lamborghini, because if you're not putting forth the action to make that big investment, then you're really kind of setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
And so they understand that when I tell them the why of that. They don't necessarily understand that, because it's okay to dream, but let's keep it in reality,
Yeah. Right. So what would be maybe some questions, if you don't mind? So if I said, oh, my dream is to own an Aston Martin, and I wanted to put an Aston Martin, what would be some questions that you would prompt me to go deeper?
Well, first off, I'm going to ask what an Aston Martin is.
Well, it's a very nice car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's about $225,000.
Okay. Well, I would probably ask what makes you want an Aston Martin?
And what would you say?
Well, it's beautiful. It is a status symbol. It would, help to show me that I've made it, and it's one that John Taylor from Duran Duran had, and I want to be closer to him.
So why is that important to you?
Because that connects me with my dream from when I was a kid, and that it's something fun that brings me back to my childhood.
Okay. So how long would that take for you to, based on your yearly income, how long would that take for you to get it if you wanted to pay for it outright?
If I wanted to pay for it outright, probably 2 to 3 years.
Okay. So, well, you could put an Aston Martin on your vision board and put the year 3 years from now, and put 2025.
Okay.
That's what I would do. So you're saying not all the things that are on there, they don't all have to be within the first year?
Got it.
Yeah.
No, and I actually don't like to do vision boards any more than 2 to 3 years out.
Okay.
Because by year 5, your goals have changed, and maybe sometimes even in the 2 or 3 year range, they've changed. And so I don't really like to put a lot of dates out there in terms of like within the 1 to 5 years or over 2 to 3, because, you know, we're human. We change. Career paths change. I mean, so yeah.
So it's okay to have some materialistic things, but to really understand what's driving it more importantly than just the item, it's the why.
Yeah, because if it's a status symbol, then I mean, I really want them to kind of have a coming to Jesus meeting with themselves, because like what is that?
Yeah.
Like
and
why?
Why do you think that is going to bring you that status?
Yeah, because it's like, you know, I think to myself, well, what would that look like if I, you know, released X amount of weight? But believe it or not, when my father passed, I was over 300 pounds, and I've lost over 100 pounds now. And so, although I'm comfortable with where I'm at, I know that I can release more, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's just a journey, and because we all ebb and flow with life, it's just to understand the beauty of those ebbs and flows and what those lessons taught you, that kind of matter to me most. So, yeah.
So really getting down to the why that's important to you and what you're going to get from, like how you're going to feel probably when you achieve that, because the status is going to go, it's going to come and go, and then you're going to want something bigger. And so I find that, do you find that people are chasing this sense of happiness and they put that on the board because they think that this status stuff is going to bring happiness and joy to their life?
Yes.
Instead of putting other things on there?
I do find that out. But a lot of the time, based on the questions that they have to ask, their preliminary questions that they have to answer, I'm really able to kind of dissect their why before they even come to my Zen den. So I like to be able to have that kind of, before I actually see the client, to kind of work through that myself, because oftentimes we have our own agendas of how things are supposed to go, and then we realize that maybe the client meant something different by that, and so I always have to engage more in conversation once they're in my vicinity. So
when they sit there and they do their vision board, because you brought up a really good concept of the Lamborghini. You know, you have to be willing to do the work that's going to bring in the money to get you the Lamborghini.
Golden question.
Yeah. So, you know, when they do their vision board, what is next for them? How do you encourage them to review it? I mean, how often should they review it? How do you connect it with the actions to make sure that the vision happens?
Because you can vision all day long,
right?
But if you don't put the action backed up,
right. So there's two things that have been really powerful over the course of my personal development years, and I'm going to piggyback off what I think you had said earlier in this series about writing out your goals and your affirmations, and actually speaking them into being and putting a date down, maybe even a time. I'm going to tell you the days that I didn't do the affirmations, or the days that I didn't feel as jived up as I probably would have been if I had. So those are two very important things that I like to incorporate. I'd be lying if I said I did it every day, just being human. But those are really two big things for me. Along with, just obviously visualizing what that looks like to, sit in that vehicle, to maybe taking a test drive in it, some other town, obviously not in Omaha, but
have to travel somewhere else to visit that.
I have one in Colorado.
Okay. Well, Colorado then. And then, maybe it's, if you are like really longing to have this car, then create a vision board just around the car itself. Because I've done one for people's retirement, I've done one for a wedding. Vision boards are so universal. They don't have to be just, oh my gosh, I didn't do it right.
Right.
What's the most unique vision board you've seen put together?
One that was just strictly just words.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
all words.
Words are powerful.
They are
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
I love having words on mine. I have, I sort of kind of define what is my word of the year. So that's always
Yep.
in the center.
Yeah.
But then I usually have about 4 or 5 other words that again represent,
Support.
who I am when I'm at my best and putting those together. I love what you talked about too, is again, calling it into being and doing the writing down, which we talked about. What I noticed for me is when I write it down, I enjoy earning, or I am, one of my affirmations that I write down is I motivate and inspire women to greatness daily. And what I notice is when I write it down, I can feel it. I can feel the energy go through me. As I write down my income one, I am like, oh, don't forget to call this person. Oh, there's this opportunity. So again, when I have the act of writing it down, it aligns me with the vision and it calls me to find the opportunities behind the vision. So I've really become very solid, and I don't do it every day either, but I probably do it 90% of the time.
I will add for the viewers, it really does help to write it in purple or red.
I do purple.
Yeah, because it taps into your subconscious.
I know that.
And I know people think, oh,
I knew
it's
purple was, but I didn't realize red did too.
yeah, we're going back to to elementary, and we're getting those red marks on our papers. But actually, red and purple are 2 big colors. If you want to
See, I just
Really
liked purple.
solidify
I
it.
just,
Yeah.
I just got purple pens. I like purple.
Yeah.
Who knew?
yeah.
When you said vision, like I was thinking, what's the most oddest one? But it's not even odd. But like someone who wants to go through a pregnancy, right? Like with no drug, like they could probably create this just a solo vision board of I want to go through 9 months of healthy. Like I want to eat healthy. I want to stay active. I want to have a birth with no medication. Like you could create vision boards
Sure.
for anything, and
Anything.
it's like a season. Then when it's done, you're like, oh, okay, I'll keep that because that was really cute. But-
Again, you can create one for how
Yeah.
you want your day. So it has pictures of, like a more calming morning or, eating, sitting down and eating a meal
Yeah.
rather than eating on the go. Again, your ideal client, so again, anything. And I love what you said. You can even just have one for a season.
Right.
And redo it. So I love that.
Getting you through COVID. I mean, you could have like health stuff. You could have, like financial security in there. I mean, anything that you could do. Granted, our big ones typically are the yearlings, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like anything big that I need to stay focused in on, I make sure I create a new little 1-page vision board. And I put that healthy one when I was going through that Miss Health and Fitness on my fridge, right? Like I have a tendency to go and eat my feelings when I'm sad. So, and I know that about myself. So it's just there to create that level of mindfulness of, this is not really what you want, and these are your goals instead. Remember to stay focused on the goals, right? So
Do you by chance, and I don't know if you will, but do you by chance have any statistics that show people who tend to visualize and do these exercises have a greater level of success in these areas?
Yeah, the only thing that I do know is that 60% of our population are visually oriented.
Yes.
The other 40% obviously is not.
Our auditory and kinesthetic. Yes.
Yeah, and so that's really the only statistic that I do know about vision boards.
No, yeah.
But it goes hand in hand with goals. If you
It
write
does.
your goals down and then you tell someone about your goals, like
it does.
it gets your chances of it coming. So
Right.
it's like your vision boards with either one of our goals classes would be fabulous, to like really take it into
Yes.
step, because like great, you have the vision of where you want to go. I'm a huge action, breeds results. And so when I if I was working with someone, it'd be like, okay, now what do you have to do monthly? What do you have to do weekly? What do you have to do daily?
exactly.
What do you need to do every single day in the very first hour of your day to get what you want to achieve? And for me, that is that spiritual meditation every morning. I'm like, that is how I start my work day, because it allows me to set the intention for the day.
And that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will tell you just from watching my clients is the ones that actually do this and write their affirmations down on a regular basis, again, 80, 90% of the time or more, they are coming within about 2% of their income goal every year. So again, going back to why I write them and that 5-minute investment, well, if I can spend 5 minutes a day and come within 2% of what I want to earn each year, it's kind of a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
But it's true. And again, I came from a place where when I heard this for the first time, I'm like, you have got to be kidding. I came to this seminar and you're having me write down these visions. I'm like, what is all this woo-woo stuff? I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing. But then as I started to hear the science behind it and how it gets into the neurological parts and the non-conscious part of the brain, I was like, okay, I could get behind this. And now, 10, 12 years later, I've seen it for me. So definitely, and I even brought you into one of my mastermind groups to do a talk for the women that we talked with there, and a lot of them came away, really excited about it too.
Yeah.
Angie, what would be some good tips? Yes, I mean, probably with COVID invites in between, maybe you were online or virtual before. So say someone does want to hire you, you can walk them through it. Obviously, we love doing that stuff in person. You can definitely probably do it virtually. But like me, like a tip for me, because I've, like I go out and find magazines and I get materials that are like free and, good, like anything. I find resources. What would be some good tips for someone to like start creating their own vision board if they can't invest in hiring someone like you?
Sure. I would recommend, like you, going to the beauty parlor and getting some magazines. Libraries are often getting rid of them as well.
Oh, yeah,
you could actually, there's a neighborhood app that you can actually,
that's right,
and you can actually ask for magazines, for free magazines that people are wanting to recycle, and they can drop them off at your door.
Yeah.
I've seen people do that.
I've actually even just gone online with all just images and just printed copies of images off the internet.
Yeah, Etsy actually sells cut magazine clippings.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I know, you can get
I mean,
anything
here
on
on
the internet.
Instagram, I was sold on Instagram, like those ads on Instagram that follow you, like we were talking
Right.
about. It was around this time of year, you're going to see that a lot, like building your, vision board, creating this, like it comes with like a creative planner, like, and then it comes with everything. So I bought it one time and I was like, should I buy this for all my clients? I was like, no, I'll buy it for myself first. But it's got words, it's got money things, it's got different things. It's just it feels like, remember when when I was young, you could do like cut like paper doll stuff. So it feels kind of papery doll-y stuff. But like the resources are endless, I guess is what we're trying to say, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Another question, because I think, where, in our kind of backgrounds being with health, a lot of people, it's January, we're going to start the year off and get our fitness goals together, our business plan. But what if it's July? Can they still do a vision board in July?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just because it's January 1 does not mean that they can't start a goal sooner. I mean, I have vision board workshops all year round.
Yeah.
It's not a one and done in January and you can't do it again until next year. So no, it's not like that.
Exactly.
In fact, they should do another one, a follow-up in February or March when they've forgotten about all their plans, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, was that really important to you?
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Angie, it has been a pleasure to have you on our show, and we do have a little gift to give you.
Yes, we do. So we have our book that we collaborated on with 14 other women, and it's called Women Who Boss Up. So it's all of us sharing our stories to success. So thank you for being here with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I
You are
appreciate
definitely a woman who has bossed up over the years.
And helps others do the same.
Yes,
so thank you
yes.
for what you're doing, and continued success to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that, you guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching today's episode. We hope that it inspired you to take action on your real life and just living your best life. You can catch all of these episodes, today's episode and all the past ones, on motivationandsuccess.com or livingrealtv.com. So with that, I'm Karissa Adkins.
And I'm Clara Capano.
And we hope that you stay living real.